Why did Russia invade Ukraine? Ukraine and Russia are two Eastern European countries that share a border. On February 24, 2022, Russia pushed its forces into Ukraine and began a forcible takeover attempt. Many people were astonished by the invasion, given it was the first significant conflict in Europe in decades. Russia and Ukraine, on the other hand, have had a tense relationship for generations. It's necessary to delve into 1,300 years of history to comprehend what's going on right now. Both countries are from the same medieval monarchy known as Kievan Rus. It was built in the 800s by Varangians, a group of Vikings from northern Europe who came to reign over the locals. Kievan Rus encompassed what is now Russia and Ukraine, and the Slavs who lived there are the forefathers of today's Russians and Ukrainians. Its capital was Kiev, the same Kiev that presently serves as Ukraine's capital. Moscow, today's Russian capital, was once part of Kievan Rus. In the year 1240, Kievan Rus was conquered and divided by Mongol armies from Asia. Kiev became a part of a new state that included what is now Poland and Ukraine. The Mongol Empire established Moscow as a regional capital. Both Moscow and Kiev were at the crossroad of Europe and Asia, yet their cultures were distinct due to their geographic location. The Soviet Union and Imperial Russia. In the 1500s, descendants of Kievan Rus kings in Moscow established their own empire, Imperial Russia. By 1654, it comprised Kiev and its Ukrainian people, as well as other European and Asian regions and people. Because they share a culture dating back to medieval times, some in Imperial Russia considered Ukrainians as brothers to the Russians. Ukrainians, on the other hand, claimed that while both communities share a religion and some history, Ukrainian culture, including food, language, arts, and music, was distinct. It was molded through interactions with many people and a history distinct from that of Russia. On February 1917, Tsar Nicholas II was deposed from the throne by a revolution. In the same year, another revolution ushered in a new empire known as the Soviet Union. Some Ukrainians were apprehensive about joining the new Soviet Empire. They attempted to establish their own country. However, the Soviets suppressed their campaign and established the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, one of the Union's many republics. It allowed Ukrainians to maintain their culture and administer their local government at first. However, when the Soviets became concerned that Ukrainians wanted independence, they handed over authority, an independent Ukraine. The Soviet Union fell apart in 1991. Ukraine and Russia, which had previously been part of the Soviet Union, became different independent countries. Fast forward to 2013. Viktor Yanukovych, Ukraine's president, wanted Ukraine to be loyal to Russia. As a result, he opted not to sign a trade agreement with Ukraine that would move it closer to Europe. Ukrainians rebelled, voted out Yanukovych, and chose a government that prioritized Europe above Russia. Despite the protests, Russian President Vladimir Putin declared that the majority of Ukrainians wanted to maintain connections with Russia. He was also concerned that Ukraine might join a military alliance with the United States and Europe, posing a threat to Russia. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, a region in southern Ukraine. It also dispatched troops and weaponry to eastern Ukraine, ostensibly to assist people who wished to join Russia. Approximately 14,000 people have died and 1 million people have left the war in the 8 years since then. The present conflict. Putin said that Ukrainians and Russians are one people again in February 2022. He considers Ukrainians and Russians to be brother nations and believes that Russia should be in control because it is the older brother. Since the Soviet Union's collapse in the early 1990s, NATO has extended eastward into nations that were once under Moscow's sphere of influence. NATO was originally formed to protect Europe against Soviet assault during the Cold War. Putin has made it clear that he sees this as a violation of Russia's interests and a historic betrayal by the United States and its partners, who he argues promised not to expand the organization into former Soviet Union. NATO leaders claim that no such pledge was made and that Eastern European citizens decided to join the alliance in order to escape the grip of their Cold War masters in Moscow. Ukraine in 2008 was promised eventual NATO membership. In reality, joining was always a distant prospect, a source of frustration for Ukrainian leaders in recent years. But Ukraine's NATO ambitions, as well as its aspirations for fast-track EU membership, were a red line for Putin, who sees the Soviet Union's collapse as a catastrophe. The majority of Ukrainians disagree. The remark of their president Volodymyr Zelensky have motivated them. He assured Putin that Ukrainians want peace but will protect their country's independence if necessary. Putin has invaded again, this time with the intention of taking control of the entire country. Ukrainians are currently fighting the Russian army, claiming that they are fighting an occupation. The people of Russia had no voice in whether or not to invade. Many people are protesting it. Many families have members who are both Russian and Ukrainian. As a result, many people on both sides of the border do not want to fight each other in a conflict. Ukraine is a sovereign democratic state. It has an elected government, internationally recognized borders, and a population of approximately 41 million people. Ukraine is not a member of NATO, but it did modify its constitution in 2019 to state that joining NATO and the European Union were essential strategic goals, with a goal of submitting requests by 2023. A generation of young Ukrainian politicians and citizens have been leading the charge towards stronger ties with Europe. Researchers who have been studying Ukrainian public opinion for the past 8 years have reported a significant uptick in support for deeper links with NATO, putting the figure at 59%. Prior to commencing the invasion in February 2022, Putin requested that NATO deny Ukraine membership in December 2021 and has threatened that NATO forces in Ukraine will be seen as an escalation of the war. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine says Ukrainians are fighting to safeguard European ideas of democracy and freedom, and he calls on the European Union to show you are with us. The United States and many of EU are on Ukraine's side. They believe Ukraine should be entitled to make its own decisions about its future. Hi everyone, I hope this video has been informative. If you like this video and you like to see more videos like this, kindly like this video, share with others, leave a comment in the comment section, and also please subscribe to this channel if you've not subscribed yet. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, and look out for the next video.